Do you like cars? Do you want to drive cars on the moon? Do you like plants? You hate plants? Especially in outer space, like on the moon? Well, what if you could drive a car on the moon with laser guns to shoot evil moon plants right in their dumb moon plant faces? Sounds like something you'd be interested in? Well, let's seal the deal with a magic ring that does whatever you could possibly need it to do, a wizard with magical powers that can do anything you'd need him to do, and a little girl made out of plants that can talk to plants and rides a giant flying space fish. Are you coming to this party with me or what? Hi, I'm Dan Larson, and this is the history of Jayce and the Wheeled Warriors. Real quick before we jump into Jayce, I'd like to share a little bit of fan mail that we received here since we started the show 2.5 years ago. There's so many letters here, like 7, 8 letters. I'm just going to grab one here at random and read it. This is from Eric in California. Eric says, "Hey Toy Galaxy, love the show. You guys are so funny. You should do an episode about Jayce and the Wheeled Warriors. It's the best show ever, and not many people know that J. Michael Straczynski wrote some of the episodes." How's that for luck of the draw? Let's do another one real quick here. Esteban in Mexico writes, "Dear Toy Galaxy Dan and producer Greg, Toy Galaxy is my favorite toy show on YouTube. I've been watching since the very first episode." Thanks, Esteban. "Thank you for everything you've done so far, and I'm really hoping you do an episode about Jayce and the Wheeled Warriors at some point. By the way, J. Michael Straczynski was one of the writers. Not many people know that." Okay, well, Esteban, thanks for the letter, and good news, we're doing that Jayce episode right now. All right, Jayce and the Wheeled Warriors starts at Mattel, the company who brought you He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, Hot Wheels, Marvel's Secret Wars, and of course, all the Barbie. For 3 years straight, starting in 1982, He-Man and Skeletor had been fighting it out with G.I. Joe, Transformers, and Star Wars for toy aisle supremacy. Mattel was ready to take what it had learned from the success of He-Man and apply it to another toy line. In 1985, Mattel rolled out Wheeled Warriors. That's right, Wheeled Warriors. No Jayce and the yet. It was 5 good vehicles called the Lightning League and 5 evil vehicles called the Monster Minds. The Lightning League vehicles each had opening cockpits to put the tiny 2.5-inch pilots into. Each pilot looked pretty much the same with a driving suit and basic face and hair features, enough to tell that they were humans driving these space cars. The Monster Minds were just that, evil monster brains made out of a soft rubber that could be placed in the cockpit of the evil vehicles, making the entire car a brain-powered sentient creature. Each of the vehicles featured exchangeable parts, weapons, wheels, tank treads, missile launchers, as well as the chassis themselves. It was left to you to choose the best weapons to win. I'm gonna just read another letter here real quick. It's from Max in Rhode Island. "Hey Toy Galaxy, you guys make the funniest videos. My dad was telling me about some toys he had as a kid called Jayce and the Wheeled Warriors. Are you going to do a show about them?" By the way, he said that J. Michael Straczynski was one of the writers and that not many people know that. Let's just do one more real quick here. It says, "What's up, Toy Galaxy? Great show. Love listening to you guys talk about toys. I'd love to hear what you have to say about Jayce and the Wheeled Warriors. I was just telling my son Max about them. Make sure you mentioned that J. Michael Straczynski was one of the writers. Most people don't know that." The good Lightning League vehicles, Armed Force, Drill Sergeant, Quick Draw, Spike Trike, and the huge walking carrier vehicle Trailblazer are referred to by their vehicle names, but the drivers weren't given specific identities, just driver. The Monster Mind characters as sentient vehicle creatures are referred to by their brain names, Sawboss, KO Cruiser, Gun Grinner, Terror Tank, and their own walking carrier vehicle, Beast Walker. Just like the Masters of the Universe before them, the toys included very brief fold-out mini-comics which established the battle between the Monster Minds and the Lightning League. But the emphasis in the comics was on the play structure of the exchangeable parts, and overarching mythology was absent. There was no origin of the war between the Lightning League and the Monster Minds. It's as if they were trying to be intentionally vague so that those details could be filled in later. Let's look at another letter here. "Dear Dan and Greg, great show. Love the beard. Sorry. Please do an episode about Jayce and the Wheeled Warriors, that show that J. Michael Straczynski worked on." Not many people know that. Later meant a cartoon. Forgetting exactly how the formula for promoting a toy line was supposed to work, Mattel waited until after the toys had already been on the market for sale before beginning development on a cartoon to help promote it. To try to recover sales on their already faltering toy line, Mattel turned to cartoon veterans Deke Entertainment. Deke had already been producing shows like Inspector Gadget, The Get Along Gang, Pole Position, Kid Video, and Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling. With a premise of monster plants versus humans battling with space cars that all have exchangeable parts, Deke set out to somehow make that interesting. They produced 65 22-minute episodes that aired originally from September to December of 1985 in the US, the UK, and France. Deke introduced a group of characters to actually build some kind of a narrative around. Jayce was a young man looking for his father, Audric. Audric was a scientist who had been trying to save the world from starvation. To do this, he invented a super plant. When Audric completed the starvation-ending plant, a nearby star went supernova, and the radiation it emitted caused the starvation-ending super plant and 4 others in his lab to become evil sentient creatures that can morph into cars, the previously mentioned monster minds. Must have been a Monday, right? Right? Mondays. Jayce is joined in the battle against the monster minds by a Merlin-type wizard named Gillian, who gives Jayce the Ring of Light that can pretty much do anything at least once per episode. There's a little girl named Flora, who was a previous experiment by Jayce's father to create a life form out of plant matter that wasn't turned evil by a supernova. She's also got telepathic powers and can talk to plants and animals with her mind. Oon, a robotic assistant who looks like a little kid in armor wielding a magic lance, and lastly, Herc Stormsailor, the Han Solo of the group, who's just in it for the money and has a giant cargo ship to transport Jayce and all of the wheeled warriors around the galaxy to search for his father to save the galaxy. They have to find Jayce's father because of love, but also because Audric happened to invent a different plant root that will defeat the monster minds, but he only sent half of it to Jayce when the monster minds took over his lab. I don't know exactly how to define irony, but ironically, having a cartoon to promote a toy line after it was already selling poorly with characters and branding that doesn't look anything like the characters in the cartoon was not good for business. Well, it was either that or other kids reacted the same way I did when they first saw it and said, evil plant brain cars and what now? Thanks, but I've got He-Man and Transformers and G.I. Joe and Star Wars and GoBots and Sectars and Mask. I'm good. All right, we're just going to read another letter here real quick. Dear Toy Galaxy, if you ever do an episode about Jayce and the Wheeled Warriors, don't forget to mention that J. Michael Straczynski was one of the writers. Not many people know that. Point is, the toys were not selling well enough in an already saturated market to justify having a cartoon in the first place, so a second season wasn't an option. The movie that was already in pre-production, which would have resolved the series' cliffhanger, was canceled, as was the second series of vehicles, which would have had figures that were actually modeled after the characters that actually appeared in the show. Jayce and the Wheeled Warriors popped up briefly in 1994 and 1995 on the USA Network as part of the USA Cartoon Express. DVDs are still out there for purchase now in 2017. Toys can be fairly affordably acquired on the secondary market, and you can watch pretty much the entire series here on YouTube. Beyond that, it left a legacy with dozens of people as having been one of the cartoons that was on in the 80s that also sort of had toys and a pretty decent theme song. Thanks for watching. Please hit like, hit subscribe if you aren't already a subscriber. Thank you to those who are. Share this video, and if you're in a position to help the channel grow, check out our Patreon at patreon.com/toygalaxy. You know what? There's only one letter left here. I might as well read it. Hey, Dan and Greg. Great show. Please do an episode on Jayce and the Wheel Warriors. J. Michael Straczynski was a writer. Crazy, right? Crazy. Who knew? Did you know?
Cut. I had a suspicion.
Not many people knew.